to have like a team that's effective against like Global Silence, right? Like,
yeah,
you're always going to have a team that has spells, so there's not much you can really do about that. Jakiro's also a hero that goes for Yule Scepter, usually, so he will naturally have a counter to Global Silence. Gyrocopter goes for an earlier BKB, and Darkseer is usually the one initiating the team fights anyway, so look for him to go for that Arcane Boots mech into Blink Dagger build that will allow them to have insane amounts of the team fight that I don't think the B team can really beat out.
Well, I'm just thinking right now the B team are looking to be scrappy. Like that's the name of their game. It's the crazy hook shot, crazy echo slam, TA popping, Silencer getting good timings off, and PL farming the entire time while those other 4 heroes just cause chaos for TNC. That just looks like their draft in a nutshell. I agree with you, the team fight's definitely a lot more superior for TNC. My only question is, will they ever be able to get that team fight? Will the B team allow for that to happen? They're already preparing for a gank, and I always wonder about this. When you drag someone down to low ground, why don't you just stay up here and wait for the rotator? You can just put one guy on the side and one guy over here. So you can see him coming. Looks like TNC are going to play the very defensive route. I'm also wanting to know our lanes, because it looks like we're sending the PL to the off lane with a Silencer, which was the Templar Assassin, the mid, roaming Earthshaker, and then the bottom lane Clockwork. Now, Clockwork is very late to this bottom lane, and he's also going up against a Naga Darkseer combo, while the Jakiro is our solo mid core. Now, we're going some classic Dendi style, like when Jakiro was always the counter pickup to the Templar Assassin.
Yeah, this is a great hero versus TA. Obviously, the defensive refraction, as you could see, like one nuke, and you burn through it really quickly, and you still do a good amount of harassment damage to her. This is going to be, if he gets level 2 and he really pushes it, I think he should be, and I think he's doing the right play so far, focusing more on harassment than on CS. If he can force the TA back to start burning through those tangos and be left in that awkward position where he still needs 1 or 2 more CS to get his bottle, but he has no more regeneration because it's on cooldown, he can actually gain such a big advantage in the first 1 to 2 minutes and establish that sort of dominance in lane. You can already see she's actually being forced back to the tower. This is another big advantage of the Jakiro, of course. The Liquid Fire has such good AoE to it that you can easily both harass the tower as well as the enemy hero at the same time if you're pushing the lane in via dual breath.
And you know I'm a big Jakiro fan. This is exactly why I love this hero. Even after the nerf came to Liquid Fire, so it wasn't as powerful anymore. You see what can happen when you give a Jakiro solo space. Now the Fissure, oh, that actually does block him in, but he can turn around and also dual breath down the Templar Assassin, and TA won't want to follow this one. There's no rotations coming up from the bottom lane, so there's nothing which is really going to stop the Jakiro. Is he going to try and lose? Okay, I thought he was trying to lose the aggro by moving up then. Really make a lot of sense. He'll come down for the 2-minute rune.
Yeah, nice guy.
This Jakiro is going to get some really good, just quick levels, and with high levels up in Liquid Fire, Templar Assassin won't be able to stop that push on the tower.
Oh wow, that is one of those runes that just saves the lane for the Templar Assassin. She was in a really bad position, I would say, but that regeneration puts her right back on even grounds with the Jakiro, and it just becomes a CS game at this point, which the TA does have a little bit more CS, but the Jakiro has more denies. So it's pretty even so far, especially with the gigantic creep wave that's coming in for Jakiro, and the fact that he gave away, I think, 1 or 2 CS to the Naga Siren as well.
The only downside for Jakiro is finding last hits underneath the tower. His base damage isn't really the greatest in the world, but pretty damn good job. Managed to take 4 of them with the help of Liquid Fire.
Oh, going back to it, the reason for going an aggro tri-lane on the B team, I think they correctly surmised that they were going to be dealing with some sort of aggression. Ooh, the ensnare. They could actually kill the Templar Assassin here.
The dual breath and Liquid Fire is already burning him down, but now the burn's going to end and refraction charges will come back up again. It's a very early point up at ensnare. Most Naga Sirens, especially the ones I've been watching recently, have been just going mirror images and Riptide.
Yeah, I even had Naga Siren going for mirror image maxed out first. Oh, the pickoff in the top lane, their aggro tri-lane is actually working out for them. I would say primarily because they don't have the Naga Siren in lane. If they actually had her in lane, I think the tri-lane is still fine for TNC. But they are trying to do this like aggro dual lane situation, which is putting a lot of pressure on the Clockwork. I'm just not sure if they're ever going to be able to get a kill out of it.
I don't think it's really about getting kills, though. Like, it's making sure Clockwork can't leave this bottom lane, or else they lose out the bottom tower. And also Naga Siren, as you can see, like, okay, she failed the stack, but she's trying to stack for the Darkseer so they can flash farm her up, give her an Iron Shell, she walks over with Riptide. So that it's more of this greedy laning phase build where you do the 2-1-2, and then you understand, like, I can also get like a semi-jungle out of this as well. So you kick up that Naga Siren song a little bit earlier, so you have that team fight control against up against the B team.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting idea. I've never seen this before. The idea that when you can run dual lanes with Naga Siren, and I think it only really specifically works with Darkseer, but Naga Siren is a tanky enough hero, especially against physical damage, that she can tank up neutrals really well. And via that, you can be a half-decent jungler if you're being given Ion Shell a lot.
They're coming from mid. They really want this Templar Assassin down. There's no way to hindsight a meld, also because he hasn't leveled it up. There's a Sentry Ward in lane, which is the other reason why. The Templar Assassin will just end up burning from that. Had the initial Iron Shell from Darkseer, and Darkseer tried to come in as well. So just team up with the Jakiro. He's got 3 points up in Liquid Fire already. So melting through towers is not that hard. You just need someone to not be in the lane for a little bit. And they'll get through this. And they're searching out for the stacks of the Radiant side too. The Templar Assassin.
Oh, nice play.
You mentioned the fact that they would be trying to stack for her, at least trying to get a little bit of flash farm.
Yeah.
Be it Ancients or be it just normal camps.
Yeah, they actually were trying to do both. TA was stacking a hard camp for herself, and then the supports actually just stacked the Ancients once. So they've already taken away one of those recoveries. They might be able to take away the Ancients. TA can do it really, really early, so it makes it a bit difficult. Especially with the build of the Templar Assassin. The maxed out Side Blades build, especially over Refraction, this is very specifically made to deal with the Jakiro. She needs to be able to sit back as far back as possible in lane, and also the Refraction defensive part does very little for her, right? Just because he burns through it so easily. So I think this is a pretty interesting build, but it'll also help with doing the clearing through the Ancient stack. If you go for the like 3-2-1 or 4-3-1 build on Templar Assassin, where you're prioritizing meld, that's usually on Dire side to allow you to take Roshan mid.
Top lane, real trouble with this. No shallow grave from Lucky. They actually cannot keep this Gyrocopter alive when the Urshik also moves up like this. Comes a lot of Rocket Barrage damage. There's no rebuttal, there's no TP support coming in. This aggro tri-lane of the B team, while it did take a hell of a lot of damage to get the kill on the Gyro, they're still finding the kills, and Gyro's getting no CS. He's 11 for 1 up against a 33 for 20 on that top lane. We could be talking till our heart's content about how nicely the Jakiro is working in the mid lane, but his CS is level with the Templar Assassin. He still hasn't brought down the tower. Darkseer and Naga, yeah, they're having great fun on bottom lane, but your primary number 1 position, your physical damage outputter, is not getting farmed.
Yeah, they really shouldn't be losing this lane as hard as they are. I can understand the Gyrocopter's low on CS. That makes perfect sense, but they really shouldn't be dying. I think they're just getting overly aggressive, which they could only do if they had a third hero with them. If Darkseer rotates, Jakiro, or if even the Naga Siren comes back to this tri-lane, they can be aggressive, yes, but they're just trying to do it as a 2-man crew, and it's not working out at all.
And also, Naga Siren doesn't actually has any intention of going back up there.
No.
And she's got a 0-2-3 build. This is a double Iron Shell and Snare Riptide kill build, where they keep this dual lane together. Now the Fissure on Darkseer, the rotations come from the B team instead, and well, the favorite chicken will drop on bottom lane, and he was worth a lot of money. Clockwork will end up taking it. He was waiting for the perfect opportunity, but the movement from the B team comes first.
Templar Assassin starts clearing through that Ancient stack, so a small recovery, but this only puts her on even grounds experience-wise with the Jakiro. Jakiro actually, CS-wise, hasn't been doing as well as I would have expected.
He's all about the gold towers, like the money from the towers, though. Because it's all about Liquid Fire. Like, Raven right now, the way... Because Oh, I still subscribe to the old, I think it was Rock's Kiss that ran the Jakiro.
Yeah.
Like the split push build with the Bristleback and Jakiro as the core. Like the second Jakiro has level 4 and Liquid Fire, you're going to go from tower to tower to tower. With its early damage, the Gyrocopter, where's Shallow Grave? You've got to put it up on him right now before he actually ends up losing his Gyro barely in the nick of time. While the PL already used Doppelganger, so Jakiro finds a kill on the Phantom Lancer. They can now look to the next target. Rip threat from Nagasar and ensures the kill on the Clockwork. And so the Gyro back to base to heal up, if possible, and let Jakiro slowly siege out these buildings. Fortification doesn't protect you from this because Liquid Fire the cooldown is just so low. You just spam it against the buildings.
And that's really what should have happened in those previous engagements. In the 2 versus 3, the Gyrocopter and the Dazzle playing it a bit more defensively. And they can easily beat out, if B team overextend, they can easily get kills. They just have to do the right Shallow Grave at the right time. Rocket Barrage just dishes out so much damage in a short period of time. You're always going to be able to beat out anybody who's going on you, such as that Clockwork, who thought he had the advantage there.
They're actually TPing in the Clockwork, but it's taking a very long time. And the hook shot only attempts it and will miss it. I think Darkseer really cares too much. He can Iron Shell and then surge himself down. There is Doppelganger available. Okay, well, this is really deep, Paper Chicken. He's coming in so deep. The Clockwork was still here. The tower will go to the Dire side with the Lancers. They give a free kill over to the Phantom Lancer.
That was really weird.
Yeah.
I can't believe he tried that. Missing the vacuum is really what cost him. He got really unlucky, though. The Phantom Lancer did get one of those lucky doppelgangers where you
get the max range?
Yeah, you get the max range. You happen to be the one of the illusions that's farthest away, and you also got a pretty good distance jump. It was just perfect for him, so... Still, though, I feel like the B team should have been able to read the aggression up in there in the top lane. I thought they were already, in fact, they were, kind of. Like, the Phantom Lancer was already bottom lane at that point in time. They should know once the Jakiro takes that middle lane, he's going to rotate to top, especially if the top lane is already having a hard time. So, again, going back to that Clockwork and move play, I think they should have been able to read it. It was a pretty obvious setup, and they shouldn't stick around the top lane unless they're doing en masse. Because you know TNC is going to push down that door. And you don't want to give up any free kills, which is exactly what they're about to do.
And they have one level up in Ice Path, but the Jakiro won't get there in time, so he just controls the Earthshaker instead. Global Silence will be coming off, and Clockwork, hookshot's available. He could potentially split this up, but he would throw away his life to save a Silencer. And even then, it wasn't guaranteed that both would be able to escape. So TNC get 2 pickoffs with a setup from the Nagasar, and Jakiro takes another tower. That's his second one for the game, and the third one for TNC in total. And they're going to keep going. They'll let their tier 1 tower in middle lane drop to the Templar Assassin, and they just keep pushing for the Phantom Lancer. Doppelganger's going to go again, and he gets another max range one. The ensnare will be there from the Nagasar, with a Clockwork hookshot catching out 2 with a Fissure to set it up. Where is that clearance? The Black Cannon's not up yet. The Echo Slam hits nicely, but then your Ice Path and Dual Breath go to work. With the Liquid Fire, they can keep fighting underneath this tower. Templar to rise, but has no mana.
Oh
and
my god.
No refraction charges to survive. The top tower is almost done for, but the line of TNC is starting to drop down low. The Weave will kick in for the Dazzle, so the armor's going to be nice and high. If they want to stick around, the Liquid Fire can finish the job on this tower. And in fact, that's exactly what will happen. The Gyrocopter even get the ensnare on the Silencer. The Fish will keep it back for now, but into a Rocket Barrage, Silencer stands no chance. The Ice Path ensuring there is no rebuttal. And TNC will now back up to their lanes.
Yeah, again, into one of those scenarios where B team just reacted, I think, a bit amateurly. They got caught in the top lane, which was not great in the first place, but then they blew Global Silence. Imagine that last team fight if Silencer still had that Global Silence. I think they actually would have been able to make... They probably wouldn't have won it, but they probably would have made an even trade-off. And when you're behind like this and trying to stop a push, I think that's success. Right, so the fact that he reacted with the Global Silence when it was very clear that he was dead, especially once the Gyrocopter threw down the call down preemptively, that was just an utter waste and results in B team losing yet another fight, and TNC are now getting to that point in time where they're unstoppable in team fights, not only because their draft sets them up really well for mid-game team fights, but also they're 5,000 gold ahead. This should mean that they easily take down the rest of the tier 2s, back up, do Roshan, they'll finish up Probably the Blink Dagger on Darkseer before they go uphill. They'll get BKB, Yule's Scepter. Oh, actually Necronomicon for the Jakiro instead. Very interesting choice. Really expected the Yule's Scepter, but I like this.
It works up against the B lineup. Like, all you want to do is push. I think TNC actually have a desire to end this game before they even hit 20-minute mark. Just give no space at all for the B team to work with. Like, the Yule's Scepter is a nice setup, but it seems like the Naga Song is doing that work for them.
Yeah, I really like this build. I think that the Yule's Scepter and Necronomicon are both on even grounds. I don't think one item is really better than the other in this game. It just comes down to your playstyle. Yule's Scepter kind of defeats the Global Silence and also sets you up for easy, like, ice paths. We used to see that from Jakiros all the time. But at the same time, Necronomicon, you don't care about Global Silence. It still gives you extra sources of damage that is able to burn through the refraction, and obviously gives you great pushing power.
TNC beating in Roshan, but the Clockwork Rocket's going to scout this out. Question is, can they get there in time, and do they even want to get there in time? The weave starts in for the Dazzle, so the armor is starting to rise. That battery assault attack could come in, but yeah, they realize they're way too late. They're too split up because Phantom Lancer is still pushing out the top. He at least finishes up his Diffusal Blade.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But when you kill off Roshan and you've taken out this many early towers, that level 3 Necro book is going to be up before 17 minutes for Raven.
I don't think the supports are making the right the right plays on B team, but I do like almost everything that Phantom Lancer has done in this game. His choice to forego boots, which is like really crazy to think about, but he did not get upgraded boots at all on his PL in order to get a faster Diffusal Blade, because he has to have that combat item. Like, how else are you going to stop this uphill push if you can't, like, spam out illusions at the enemy team and burn through their mana? They very clearly cannot win a straight-up 5 vs 5, even if they have the high ground advantage, so you have to try and spam the enemy team back.
At this point, it's just been trade-off with Tier 2 for Tier 2, but look at the Gyrocopter so deep into the base. The Necro units are being iron shelled up, and they're using them as the frontline units. They're still only the level 1 Necro books, but with the catapult behind him and the damage being done with electric fire, that Tier 3 town doesn't stand a chance. The Gyrocopter comes some heavy damage for the Templar Assassin, but still has the Dazzle sitting behind him, so finding a kill on that Gyro is very difficult for the B team, but they do have Global Silence available. What they don't have is enough mana on the Earthshaker, but they do have his Blink Dagger. Going back to Fountain to pick that one up, that could be the dunk moment for the Earthshaker. If you can find this opening, the Phantom Lancer's in too close. Now the Global Silence, TNC, they're still having to deal with these PL and illusions, which are burning off a little bit of mana. Luckily, Jakiro doesn't need that, but the cooldown's going to start. Where is this Earthshaker? Back a little bit further, just in the cover of smoke, waiting for that jump in, but he's only got the Gyrocopter. The rest of TNC haven't grouped up. Now Jakiro jumps in closer, but the creep wave has moved off to the side, so Rara just jumps in. He goes in very, very deep in the soul of the Siren. Naga was sitting on the back lines on purpose. Now they back into a 3-pen, both Ice Wall as well as Macropire. They just burned to death. And with a shallow grave, the Gyro won't even die right now. It's a triple kill for Raven. They'll take the mid-racks out. And they could just rotate bottom as well. There's no buybacks. With the Liquid Fire and the fresh Necro units, they can just take another lane of racks.
That was textbook. How did you go for like a Jagero push? We'll talk about it after this game ends, because I'm sure it's going to in the next 2 or 3 minutes. But TNC played that team fight damn near perfectly. B team, they have one last fight in them.
Well, I don't even know if they've even got that. With that Global Silence, with that Echo Slam, all you got is really like range harassment. The Clockwork, when he TP's in, at least the Flame Mail's making it difficult to finish the job. But they get snared, they can control him. The jump out, the Gyrocopter, nice and low, but there it is again. The fact this time into the wall, combining up with the Macropire. The Gyro will drop, but Aegis the Immortal gives him a second chance at life. And you've lost another 2 cores from B team. And you've lost the bottom racks. And TNC, well, they lost something of value, which was the Aegis, but there's something they'll prepare to lose.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get 2 lanes of racks before the 20-minute marker. Like 2 lanes of racks for me secures like almost a 90% chance at victory.
Radiant's bottom barracks
at like any point in the game, right? When it's before the 20-minute marker, that is unheard of. to have a team come back from that. It's just, it's everything, right? It's the pressure that's always there. You have a really hard time clearing through those creeps because your heroes aren't farmed up enough, and there is a very serious economic toll on you when you have these super creeps that are giving half of the bounty that they used to.
It's crippling. It's absolutely crippling. Look at TNC just flaunting their money in front of them. You get a Blink Dagger now up for a Naga Siren. You get a Blink Dagger up for the Darkseer after he's already finished up the full Greaves. The level 3 Necro unit was done, but Jakiro didn't just buy that, he bought a full Force Staff as well as his next item. Casual Yasha for the Gyrocopter, and the Dazzle buys an entire Glimmer Cape. This is an 18-minute team which has a 17k advantage at the moment, and it's not going to stop here. Jakiro moves forward under the cover of an Invis rune, and the B team just don't know what to do with this.
So I actually decided to look up the numbers, and it is almost exactly half of the amount of gold, and it's actually less than half the experience for from melee creep to super melee creep. And the same actually applies to range creeps as well. That kind of costs, like, to have two of your lanes, two of your sources of farm to be halved like that in the beginning of the game, like, there's very little chance of recovery.
And that PL's out a very long way, and there's your Blink song. They want to get the 3-man hit, they're going to find two of them, back, hit it, boom! Oh, B team! The B was not meant to stand for boom. But they most definitely got GG'd under 20 minutes. TNC. Oh, please make this be the return of Jakiro. But at the same time, it was kind of open for it with the very early Templar Assassin pick. They realized the advantage they can get in the lane.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very clear outdraft by TNC. I can't really think of many other outdrafts that I felt so strongly about than this one. But I have to say, like, TNC played the team fight, that first team fight, beautifully. What they did was show a lot of patience, despite the fact that you're like, the melee Rax was left at 100 HP, but they still kept the discipline of having everybody in the right positioning. They had their heroes sitting back, the Naga Siren was separated from the rest of the team, and the rest of your heroes were sitting way behind the Gyrocopter, so the Earthshaker, who made the right play, blinking past the Gyrocopter to go for the other heroes that were grouped up, didn't have a chance, because Naga Siren had himself completely isolated. The other option there is you try and jump on the Naga Siren, which solo is not a good play. So TNC, pretty much, if you want to look at how to play team fights, that was sort of a textbook example on how to push uphill with an advantage.
That was wonderfully done by TNC. They're one game up. And remember, this is Elimination Games, so everything is on the line to stay in the running for ESL 1 New York. Stay tuned. We will be back after the short break.